hated the brutality, the sadism, and the insanity of Nazism. I just couldn't stand by and see people destroyed. I did what I could, what I had to do, what my conscience told me I must do. By Oskar Schindler. 6 million Jewish lives were lost during the Holocaust, and Oskar Schindler was only able to save 0.02% of them. Now, many of you may see this percent as too low to have an effect on anything. However, those 1,200 people that make up that percent are forever indebted to this man. As someone who has taken the time to research this tragic event prior to the assignment, I understand that many of you are misinformed on the topic. Today, I will be sharing with you who Oskar Schindler was and his involvement in the Holocaust. We will discuss his involvement in the German military, how he protected the Jews, and in what ways he was recognized. Let's first look at his German military involvement. Schindler served in the Czechoslovakian army, and 5 months after the German annexation of the Sudetenland in 1939, he joined the Nazi Party. Schindler bought a Jewish-owned manufacturer and changed it over to a German-owned factory called Emalia in 1939. He had to persuade the SS to allow Emalia to be a sub-camp of Plaszow. The authorities suspected him of corruption and illegally assisting the Jews, and he was arrested 3 times. However, they were never able to find a reason to charge him. Now that we have discussed his involvement in the German military, we will now discuss in what ways he protected the Jews. According to www.holocaustresearchproject.org, Schindler and his employees provided false figures to the German army in order to justify the need for his subcamp. In just under 6 months, they produced half a wagon load of ammunition to go to the German army. He also operated 2 other factories in Krakow, but only Jewish men and women worked at Emalia, which prevented them from having to deal with the brutality and the murder that would have been dealt with at the other camps. He employed a total of 1,700 workers, and at least 1,000 of them were Jewish forced laborers. He also allowed 450 men and women that resided in the nearby camps to live in Emalia. He repeatedly intervened between the Nazis and the Jewish workers with bribery and diplomacy. Schindler stated he was now resolved to do everything he could to save the Jews. Schindler didn't sit back and watch this happen. He made a difference in the lives of 1,200 people. We will now discuss in what ways he was recognized. Despite the fact that he risked his life, Schindler said that he couldn't stand by and see people destroyed. He knew he had to take a stand for what was right. 17 years after the war ended, Schindler was awarded the title of Righteous Among the Nations by Yad Vashem, given to him because of his effort to save the Jews, despite the fact he was risking his own life. According to www.theunitedstatesholocaustmemorialmuseum.org, the United States Memorial Council posthumously presented the museum's Medal of Remembrance to Schindler. This medal honored Schindler for his extraordinary deeds during the Holocaust. Keep in mind that, however, he was recognized, it wasn't until 48 years after the war had ended. Because of his involvement in the Nazi Party, Schindler was at risk for being prosecuted for his unselfish efforts to save the Jews. And according to www.auschwitz.dk, this is the reason that Schindler was laid to rest penniless and practically unknown in October of 1974. However, during that time, the 1,200 Jewish men and women that he saved, in turn, paid for the burial and transfer of his body in Israel. Steven Spielberg then created a movie titled Schindler's List that illustrates the horrors witnessed throughout the Holocaust. Spielberg was ashamed to be a Jew and was bullied physically and mentally throughout his high school career because of his ethnicity. He also contributed to this book titled The Holocaust, which also illustrates the impact that the Holocaust had on everybody's life. Spielberg said, "In a strange way, my life has always come back to images surrounding the Holocaust. The Holocaust has always been part of my life, and just based on what my parents would say at the dinner table, we lost many family members, cousins, aunts, and uncles. That is why Spielberg felt obligated to take on the responsibility of recognizing these horrific events." According to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, Schindler was an opportunist businessman with a taste for the finer things in life. He seemed like an unlikely candidate to be a wartime rescuer. However, during a horrible time in history, Schindler took a stand for what was right. We discussed his involvement in the military, how he protected the Jews, and in what ways he was recognized. In my introduction, I stated that many of you are misinformed on this topic. And I hope that after hearing this speech, you will now know the importance that Oskar Schindler had on the many lives throughout the Holocaust. Any person that saves one life saves the world entire. And Schindler once stated, if you saw a dog going to be crushed under a car, wouldn't you help him? Thank you.
Good job.